Hello, hello,
Hi.
everyone. Welcome to Shine Insiders Live. We're here today with Lily Shaw, the incredible actress and writer and speaker. And we're going to be talking all things empowered visibility today. Hi, Lily. Thank you so much for being here.
Hey, Heather. It's my pleasure. That was a lovely introduction.
Do you like that we getting fancy with the little video clip? Well, hopefully it works.
Getting all tech savvy and whatnot.
We're trying over here. So yeah, obviously over time, like as we do things and step more out into the world through our writing, our speaking, the media, like we find ways to keep doing things, more fun and exciting things to play with our visibility. So that's one thing I'm doing with the show. So we'll see if that keeps working. And I'm so excited to dig in today to chat with you because I mean, literally, I was telling you that just now before we got on that I was so moved by, I have an intake that goes out when I'm setting up these interviews, and it almost made me cry, like reading your answers, because I feel like the proud mama. I know sometimes I get the mother hen comparison in the group of, taking care of everybody and wanting everyone to do well. And so for you, like just the journey you've been on and the trajectory, it's so powerful. So let me give a quick little intro on you and your work, and then we'll dive in and we'll talk about it.
Sounds good.
Okay, so Lily Shaw is a purpose-driven powerhouse actress and expert writer for Backstage magazine and ThriveGlobal, and an award-winning motivational speaker. She was rescued and inspired by the make-believe world of cinema at the age of 7. And as a first-generation Indian American, Lily is the first woman in her family to step away from tradition to pursue a creative profession. She has been a powerful voice for women's empowerment since childhood and now fiercely stands for social justice and equal representation. As an intuitive and conscious speaker, she leads by example and inspires audiences to use their voice, own their gifts, and authentically become who they were born to be. Yay, round of applause.
Whoa, is that me?
Yeah, how does that feel hearing? I mean, this is obviously something we work on in my community, is your positioning, your bios, how you present yourself, package yourself up. How does it feel to kind of hear that coming back to you?
Oh my God, I gotta say, I got emotional, especially because having you read it, I mean, you were instrumental in helping me create this perception about myself. Oh my God, I gotta say, I feel like this is like a coming home moment for me right now, having you read this.
It's truly kind of coming full circle. And I would love to have you explain a little bit about your trajectory. So, when we talk about where you started, where you were from compared to where you are now, I loved some of the things that you were talking about, how you felt so frozen, and you actually said mummified by the place that you were in, being an oppressive white male patriarchal world, as a woman of color, an immigrant, and as you said, quote unquote, fat woman, that you simply had no right to be seen or heard, let alone shine, nor celebrated. So, oh my gosh, let's talk about that place you were in and what was going on.
I think I used the word mummified because I literally was not only frozen in place, I was also nailed and like to a wall, to use a religious reference. But I remember over the last 10 years when I was a young actor coming out to LA with such high hopes. And I had this mindset that if you work hard and if you keep putting yourself out there, your day is going to come. But the more I put myself out there, the more I kept getting slapped back. And it took me almost 10 years to understand that was coming because of not necessarily the fact that I wasn't hardworking or that I wasn't talented as an actress or as a young woman. It was simply coming from the fact that I was an immigrant, that I was not what was conventionally beautiful, blonde, thin, and then also the fact that I was an immigrant. So I kept looking for avenues. I kept looking for ways out. And no matter what I did, I was just not being heard. I was just, I remember the days when I couldn't finish a sentence, like, sitting across the table from a guy, from a prospective manager, and not being able to say my full name before I got interrupted. I remember being in a meeting with my agent who told me flat out, and I think this is something I've told you, who said, if you had the right look, you could be the next Sandra Bullock. It's just this overarching avalanche of, all I really remember is me crying to sleep literally for the last 10 years of going like, what am I doing wrong? What is it about me that is so off-putting that I was just not being given the chances to just show up and earn a decent wage, let alone shine, let alone make a difference. So yeah, that's why I use the word mummified, because I just felt shut down and shut out from all avenues, social and cultural and professional, of course.
Yeah, that's powerful. And yeah, and having the industry, someone in the industry say something, that powerful to you must have been very discouraging of, making you feel like, okay, I don't have the right look, right? Which really meant, probably the Sandra Bullock type is obviously a white woman, right? So that might have, really impacted you hard at the time.
It was devastating in the sense, because this is a person who was going to represent me. This was the person who was going to go out to the industry and say, I have this new 22-year-old girl and she's good at her job. And he had already written me off, even before I had spoken a word. So it was that, just that simple thing of, oh my God, this person that I wanted to trust is not really seeing me the way I want to be seen. That, as somebody who is hardworking and who wants to show up and do this job that I really feel I have a calling for. So there was that, but then there was the emotional aspect, because what started happening is that the work he would send me out was exceedingly stereotypical, exceedingly dissatisfying, exceedingly offensive, and for me, like, it was just, it was heartbreaking, and it's a scar that I carry with myself even today. Like every once in a while, like my mind will go back to that and I have to stop myself actively from going in the past and reliving it, because it was just such a knife in the stomach, moment for me.
And I love that you talked about too, how even though this was happening and you were struggling, there was this voice, this little voice inside of you that just knew you were meant for more and big things. So you kept moving forward and, had the optimism and you were diving into whatever you could dive into. So let's talk about, when we met and sort of what that shift was, what happened for you when you talk about you had sort of this big reset button.
I have to say that for me, the big eye-opening, jarring moment was the Me Too movement. And for the first time to hear women, actresses talk about the turmoil that they went through was such an eye-opening experience for me, because for the first time, I saw myself reflected in their journey. So that was the thing that made me go, oh, wait a minute. It wasn't me. It was them. It's the system that wasn't working. It wasn't me. There was nothing wrong with me, that I didn't have to cry to sleep all those nights, right? So that was like that big moment. And that allowed me in a very real way to step back into my body and start showing up in the world a little by little by little by little. But by that time, I had gotten so used to sort of being smashed and like, just like being held in place, that I didn't really know what moving forward actually meant. Like, what does it look like when somebody says yes to you? What does it look like when somebody says nice things to you? I mean, I was just like, it was so overwhelming to hear you say all those nice things about me when we started, because that's not something I'm used to listening to. I'm not used to people validating my existence. So, because I was spiritually connected, and that was the way that I survived all of those rejections, was just going deeper into myself and listening to my inner voice. There was this quiet voice that kept saying that there's got to be other women out there who are facing the same problem that I am. So that allowed me to hit the reset button, and that allowed me to go into this journey of, let me find somebody who will actually see me. And you were, I think, the second person that I found in my life who said yes to me. in a professional setting. The first one was Jen, and then second was you. And I was like, oh, here I'm home. I think I told you this. I don't know if I've shared this before, but I remember being in one of your 3-day marketing things, and I had no idea what you were talking about, but I heard you talk, and I was like, I have to be in this. I have no idea what this is, but it is speaking to my soul, and I have to do what you're doing. And I couldn't sign up fast enough. Like, everything that you were saying just felt so true and so honest to me.
I love that. And yeah, I love hearing how you really started embracing and feeling into your worth, your own self-worth. And, when people start showing up to give you that reflection of it too, it's also because you're doing that inner work. And then everything outside of you becomes that reflection. And I love that you also said you didn't know much about marketing, but you just figured, you would just go forward with faith, and you knew things couldn't be any worse than they had been. So you just took that active faith. And you talk about the most powerful and unseen consequences, being able to reconnect with your sense of empowerment, to be free to express yourself, regardless of whether other people approved it or not. I love that. So that sounds very freeing. What was that like for you?
This is an ongoing struggle with me. I'll be very honest. It's something that every day I have to kind of go, it's okay that people don't like me, because when for 10 years, when you've been rejected, it kind of becomes your MO. You kind of see the world that way. But I will say that last year when I first joined you, I mean, you saw how unsettled I was, right? Like, in my own body, I had no idea what who I was. I had disconnected with myself completely. So slowly and steadily, in the work that you and I did, I'm starting with that, the statement that reflected my life experience, owning it, owning the pain and the joy, celebrating my small successes, you know, slowly and steadily, I was able to climb out of this hole that I had kind of dug myself into. And I'm just really glad I took this leap of faith. That's all I can say. I'm very glad that I listened to my inner voice that day, and I just trusted. I think for me, it wasn't that I was placing faith in the marketing strategy, more that I was placing faith in you. This idea of, okay, this is a person who is spiritually aligned, and she's saying something that's resonating with me. So that's the leap of faith that I took, and I'm very happy. I'm glad I did.
Yeah, I'd love to talk about some of the tangible things that have happened. So you're now a contributing writer for Backstage magazine.
Mhm.
You are working on your public speaking career,
Mhm.
and you are building your profile as an influencer. You're writing and promoting yourself in an authentic way. And also you say loving every minute of it. So I think that's one of the biggest things I love to teach, is how to do the aligned visibility that feels good. And also, I think the big news that we can really share is to show the absolute trajectory is going from the kind of reps you were talking about that were not a fit for you and didn't feel good, to now having a whole team of aligned representation that you were able to secure.
Oh my God. And it's not, I just, like I said, like, again, for the first time in my life, I feel like they see me, they see my talent, they see, what I can do. And I can actually have honest one-on-one real person conversations. And it's because I feel empowered in myself now. It's because I don't no longer feel the need to hide my shame, hide my journey, hide my skin color. I can just show up in the world and know that the right people are going to find me, that I'm going to align with them. And I also, for the first time, and I think this is very difficult for actors, especially, I think I have the courage to say no when something isn't a right fit. And that has been my journey, of empowerment, where it's like, yes, I'm now working with people who feel true, who listen to me, who see me, that I can talk to. None of these things were happening, 5, 10 years ago. So yes, and my God, I mean, I have followers on Instagram. Who would have thought, like, to have that? Like, it just felt so foreign to me that I could be, claiming myself to be an influencer. And now you and I are working on, I do want to add this, and this is something I was thinking about last night, actually, before I forget, is this thought of becoming a speaker, or rather being a motivational speaker. I think if you and I hadn't been working together, this is a path that I would have never kind of accepted for myself, because when you're becoming a speaker, when you're going out and speaking your message out into the world, part of that is trusting and then speaking your truth. And if I hadn't been doing this empowerment work, I would not have found the courage to say, yes, come listen to me, come watch me. I have something to offer. I have something of value to share. So that is one of the biggest successes for me over the last year, working with you, is this idea that I can give something, even if it's not like a service, but I can give people hope. I can inspire people. I can show them the way and make them feel that all isn't lost. There is always a ray of hope. There's always a ray of something to believe in, bigger than yourself, even if you're feeling completely lost. So that is, something that, I mean, I can't be thankful enough for having that kind of courage and finding that kind of empowerment within myself.
Yeah.
That was a long answer.
A good answer. And yeah, I love hearing the trajectory too, because I think from where we started talking, that was you, right? Now, this is often what happens, is that our special gifts are to help the people where we were. And then we just teach what we know and what we did to get through those times. And so now you're out there speaking to kind of yourself a year ago, right? Or even less than a year ago.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
So you're able to lead with service and be an inspiration and a guide to those out there who need to hear your message. And that's really what this is all about, being of service in the world, finding or actually letting the people who are praying for you now to find you, to discover you. When you're putting yourself out there as you are in this aligned way, they're showing up. They're following you. They're wanting to engage with you. They're wanting to interview you. And I think you have a new episode out on a podcast. Is that correct?
Yes, it's called Unchain Your Inner Strength. It came out yesterday, and we went deep and we had real conversations, the kind of conversations I would have never even dared to talk about. But no, I was able to have a real honest conversation, and hopefully bring something of value to the host's audiences. And I just go in there with service, and like you said, and with the idea of helping people, and I hope it reaches them.
Beautiful. So yeah, people can find that on your Instagram. I think you're promoting it. Tell people how they can stay in touch with you, where they can find you.
Please follow me on Instagram, because I'm just loving it. I love having followers. But more than that, like I'm trying to now create the community that's going to be about empowerment, that's going to be more about having honest and real conversations, so we don't have to be ashamed of our own history. So that's my intention, and the first step for doing that is to create a viable, visible community, and I've decided to do that with Instagram. So if people would love to join me, I would love to hear with them. That's where I post everything about my my speaking career, my acting career, also my writing stuff. And I think the link is in the bio for Instagram if anyone wants to go and listen to that episode.
Great. And well, that's is it Lily_Shaw_LA
Yes.
for the handle? Yes.
Yes.
And we'll put these in the show notes or the posts below. So you have how you can stay in touch with Lily, and you can follow her on Backstage as well to read her articles. We'll have a link there, her website. You can find her on Facebook. And so this is, perfect timing to have this conversation, because next week it's a year anniversary essentially from my first ever 3-day event at the onset of the pandemic. Next week, I'm hosting a visibility activation. It's over 3 days, but what I will say is it's only going to be about an hour a day. So people hear 3 days, oh my gosh, but no, only about an hour a day. So it's more of a challenge style. where people can come and get turned on, get their energy aligned for this kind of frequency and visibility activation, and also learn some of the things we're talking about in terms of what I call my shine strategies, how to actually get visible. So for anyone that might be on the fence of like, should they come out and should they attend or sign up? Again, it's a free event. What would you tell them, Lily?
Run, don't walk to sign up for it. I think this is the event that I signed up for, right? That's the one that I
It's
did
going to
last
be,
year.
like kind of a condensed version of it. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I mean, and I think it's a great insight into what people can get. So you did a great job of showing people what to expect rather than like keeping it all a huge mystery of like sign up with me and then you'll know. I think I really, really loved that you were upfront and you tell us your journey, which has been fascinating to me. And and we get to see that your experience is hard earned. You're also out there trying to do the same thing that we are. So that's why I think as a woman, I feel really like safe and protected working with you. And I really loved that you just kind of put everything out and you said, these are my strategies and I'm going to teach you how to implement them. So there's no like, drama. There's nothing hidden. There's nothing mysterious. It's honest, dedicated, day by day, put in the effort and see the results happen. And I wouldn't be here if it hadn't been for your guidance. So it's been a tremendous year for me.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much. That's a beautiful affirmation. And I love hearing that and all of this, everything, your journey. This is what lights me up and why I'm doing this, because this is my purpose. And I do practice what I teach, which is,
Yes.
even though people think, oh, she's got a background in publicity, visibility is easy for her. Oh, hell no. No, I am not. I'm kind of a natural introvert and I am not totally comfortable putting myself out there. But my passion for my purpose is bigger than my fear of the spotlight. So
Oh my
that's the
God,
big
that's beautiful.
that's
Yeah.
the big shift we all have to make if we do have any qualms or fears or limiting thoughts around getting visible and putting ourselves out there, because that is how we fulfill our purpose on this planet, is by getting in front of people.
Are
So
you gonna, I'm sorry, are you gonna talk about your Forbes journey? I think everybody's gonna love hearing that
oh, during the event.
during the 3-day event. Yeah.
Yep. There'll be some of that. I love to
Okay.
weave in my pandemic story, and you'll have to come hear all about that. And
Yes.
so that you can just sign up at shineinsiders.com. We'll also have the links in the post here. So shineinsiders.com will take you to the free page to grab your seat, reserve your seat. It's free. And I'm really excited to host this next week. And Lily will also be there, and a couple of other of our beautiful Shine sisters and
Yeah.
sisters in business. And we're going to give some great actionable information. This isn't just theory. So we're going to work on the alignment, but I'm big on the strategy. So that's the big question people always have, like, how do you do it? What are the steps? So no matter what happens after this event, you will have some shifts on the inner and the outer world. So to help you move forward in your business. So yay, this has been awesome, Lily. Thank you so much for being here today. Any last thoughts before we wrap up?
No, I just want to say that I hope it's a greater success. I'm gonna be there and I'm gonna have a lot of fun with your people. And there are a few things in life that when you're going through it, they don't feel as life-changing. But when you look back at it, you're like, wow, like I cannot believe I actually did that. So I think for me, working with you has been one of those life-changing shifts. So I just hope that people show up and they get the same value that I got.
Awesome. Thank you, Lily. I love you so much. I'm so happy to have you here and in the community and sharing your genius zone with everybody today, your energy, your just kind, loving spirit. You're such a shining light. And
I didn't even pay her to say that, just so you know.
oh my gosh. Well, we're so excited to see you next week if you can join us. So shineinsiders.com, and go ahead, follow Lily on Instagram, stay in touch with her. And we'll be back soon again with another lovely woman from my community. So stay tuned and have a beautiful day and shine on. Thanks,
Yes.
Lily.
Thank you so much. It was a lovely conversation. Thank